Here in the U.S., conservatives overwhelmingly voted for Senator Rand Paul in the presidential poll at CPAC. Senator Ted Cruz came in a distant second. The annual conference in Washington brings together thousands of conservatives to read the pulse of the movement. CBN's David Brody was there.
The fiery rhetoric was hot all weekend long.
We need to repeal every single word of Obamacare.
Some conservative presidential wannabes like Texas Governor Rick Perry said it's time to start a rebellion. Mike Huckabee was concerned about God's fiery judgment coming down on America if we forget about the Creator. And some, like Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal, had a few punchlines.
To President Carter, I want to issue a sincere apology. It is no longer fair to say he was the worst president of this great country in my lifetime. President Obama has proven me wrong.
After the speech, the governor and possible presidential candidate told us that this president's policies are helping the conservative cause.
The failures of the execution and the design of Obamacare may be the best argument against progressivism we're ever going to see. I think people are now beginning to see it doesn't make sense just to trust the government to do everything for us. It doesn't work. We need to trust the founding fathers were right to trust the American people, not a bunch of guys in D.C.
And conservatives like possible presidential candidate Paul Ryan were wasting no time bashing big government in Washington.
Right now, the tax code is 10 times the size of the Bible and has none of the good news.
But critics say the news is not good for Republicans because of supposed infighting over how conservative the movement should be. Ryan sees it differently.
The way the left tells it, the Republican Party is in this big, massive civil war. It's Tea Party versus establishment libertarians versus social conservatives. There's infighting, conflict, backbiting, discord. Look, I'm Irish. That's my idea of a family reunion.
But all eyes were on New Jersey governor and possible presidential contender Chris Christie. Some conservatives think his record is too moderate. He wasn't invited to CPAC last year, but this year he was well received, and he played up his social conservative record.
When we say that we're pro-life and that we're proudly pro-life, that doesn't mean we're pro-life just when that human being is in the womb. We need to be pro-life when they leave the womb as well.
After his speech, Christie told us he was glad to be back.
You know, we have a lot in common in terms of what my record has been, and so I felt the reception was great, and I look forward to coming back next year if I'm invited.
Christie's focus is on something conservatives are well aware of, broadening the scope of the party and coming across as more compassionate.
Our ideas are better than their ideas, and if we put them forward in an unapologetic, straight way, we can do it. But also, we've got to go into places and campaign in places where we're uncomfortable. We can't just keep going to the Chamber of Commerce luncheons, and we can't just keep coming to CPAC. We've got to go into Latino neighborhoods. We have to go into African-American neighborhoods.
While this conference gives conservatives the opportunity to galvanize with what they hope will be a successful midterm election season, it doesn't resolve the larger issue, and that is whether or not to be a big tent of a party or stick to those constitutional conservative principles. David Brody, CBN News, in National Harbor, Maryland.